What is happening, everybody? I hope you're all having a wonderful day, and welcome on back to Tainted Grail, the Fall of Avalon. So, in between episodes, I did a significant chunk of exploring, actually, as you can see, if we go ahead and zoom on out here. I came down to this little village. We ended up preparing a bunch of stuff and getting that up to scratch. I did an eternal war against some pigeons out here in the castle proper. Laid some traps, I built some stuff for the one guy. I gave the guy up on the wall his big fur coat, and I just did a bunch of random side quests here. I did explore around. I found a couple druidic shrines. The main thing that I did was I came down into the sunken village. I cleared this out. I met somebody here that King Arthur knows, so we do have to take a bonfire rest to ask him about his memories. And then I pushed on into this village, the Forgotten Cemetery. I found a shrine of a wolf there that I need some wolf parts for if we're going to do that. The Arch Spire I didn't go to. We just uncovered it, I guess. But we have two quests there. And then the ancient crypt, there was I forget the name of them in mythology, but there was somebody in there that I had to steal for, and basically she was dying because nobody believed in her anymore. So we stole something for her as like an act of worship, and she gave us a big buff to sneak damage. So, and then we cleared the bandit camp, and then this is one of our bounties, so I didn't bother taking that up to its natural conclusion, and then yeah, basically we're done with this whole bottom side of the map now, so now I can focus on pushing up into the top parts of the Horns of the South. But for right now, we do have to talk to the leader of this castle, or I guess the secondary leader of the castle. I guess the original captain locked himself up in a office somewhere inside, so...
Sir, I haven't seen you before. I wasn't expecting any guests. You don't look like a new recruit. And yet, Odrin let you in. He's not drinking again, I hope.
Yeah, he was pretty drunk.
Most unfortunate. But that explains why you just strutted into the Horns. I'm afraid I'll have to take action. The name's Fergus, and I assume you already know I'm the Quartermaster here. Now state your business.
Also, I probably just got him in trouble, huh?
Or the walls of this fortress will be the last thing you'll ever see.
Interesting. So he has keeper armor on, but his is way more heavily plated than everything else. And I guess we just got Odran at the front gate in quite a lot of trouble. I'm sure he's gonna be extra distasteful next time we talk to him. I got this pin from a friend. I assume you know what it means.
Yes, I know. And that's why you're still standing in front of me. However, these pens were only given to certain people. They mean that in times of trouble, these people will always find a safe haven here in the Horns. And that makes me wonder, what happened to your friend? Where is he?
I actually wouldn't know. We got shipwrecked on the way, but he could have made it.
If what you're saying is true, he must have had a deal with somebody well above my pay grade, and that leaves only the captain. However, if you're lying, then you might as well have just confessed to the murder of a Knight of the Round Table. But nobody's that much of a fool, I think. Fortunately for you, I've seen my fair share of morons in life, and you don't look like one.
Well, thanks. I appreciate that at least.
This pen only means that I'm to make sure you're safe in the Horns. Nothing about helping you out with whatever you're up to. Anyway, welcome to the Horns of the South. Make yourself at home.
But Caradoc is he's either a part of the Knights of the Round Table, or he killed somebody and stole it. Alright, so let's take a look at this. These are a lot of things related to our side quest that we've been picking up here. We found a man in down in that village who's locked in a cage. I guess he killed some people. He kind of lost his mind. I found a piece of metal with an inscription. Do you know what that is? I'm not sure what that is. Goban mentioned the tunnels and the former captain. We need to talk about Gwylin. Ninian is dead. He asked me to bring you this. Okay, so we'll start off by... Yeah, let's start by knocking some of these side quests off. So, Ninian is dead. He asked me to bring you this.
Ninian. I knew the Red Death would take him. Damn shame. He was one of the good ones. You did right bringing this back. The Horns look after their own, even after they're gone. But, now that I think of it, how did you manage to get hold of his tag?
You're a little paranoid, aren't you? He wasn't taken by the Red Death. The Red Priests tortured him in the island asylum.
Tortured? In the asylum? You can't expect me to take that at face value.
Take it as you will, it's the truth.
Said Ninian was too weak to survive the journey. They came for him, and we even held a symbolic keeper's burial for him. And what were you doing in the island asylum? You look fine, but if you were there, near him...
It was a misunderstanding. The Red Priests caught the wrong person.
I'm sorry this happened to you. Still, you have to understand. Now that you've told me this, I'll be keeping a close eye on you. No risks can be taken when it comes to the Red Death.
Well, as you can see clearly by looking at me, I'm actually fine, so you don't have to worry about that. We need to talk about Gwylin.
Let me guess. He's trying to rope you into his campaign against Avalonian seagulls.
Yes, he is. How'd you know?
It's a well-known story. All the keepers know of Gwylin's obsession, but it's less amusing than it sounds. You see, Gwylin is from a coastal village. His father, a fisherman, worked hard to feed his family. He instilled a deep hatred of seagulls in Gwylin, claiming they were our greatest enemy. He taught his son how to kill them effectively, and insisted they were agents of the Four Dwellers.
Ironically, we did also do another side quest where we drank a potion and it let us talk to a chicken. And apparently the chickens told us that he was one of the foreigners or Four Dwellers, I guess. That's where he's wrong. It's chickens. One of them is in the Horns of the South.
What?
What?
I'm sorry, I must have heard you wrong. What were you talking about?
Gwylin has gone insane.
Essentially, yes. But he wasn't always like this. When he joined, he just didn't like seagulls and avoided them. I gave him simple jobs away from the walls, and everyone was happy. Until one day, he asked to serve on the walls. I agreed because I thought he'd simply got used to the birds. I had no idea I would be contributing to feeding his obsession.
Well, we certainly made it way worse, because we did like 3 quests for him. We set up traps, we built him a seagull killing mask, the crafting table. We did all kinds of stuff. When did you realize he was getting worse?
I spoke to him. Between his rants, I heard a confession I didn't expect. When Gwylin was only 7 years old, he saw a flock of seagulls attack his father and pluck his eyes out.
Jesus.
Is it true? Or the ramblings of a madman? It's not for me to decide. Don't get me wrong. Gwylin is harmless, and he's a good soldier. But he can't be helped.
What should I do now?
Whatever he's asked you to do, just ignore it. Don't argue with him. It's not your responsibility. If he brings up seagulls, just pretend you didn't hear him. That's what we all do.
Yeah, about that. So, Gobin mentioned the tunnels and the former captain.
Captain Hagen. Well, he was a man driven by pride and a certain disregard for caution. He sent men to explore those old tunnels beneath the keep. Somehow, he got it into his head that there was something valuable down in those tunnels. Treasures, relics, who knows what else.
Treasures and relics,
The
huh?
truth is, we know what was there. In the Age of Legends, it was just a hospital. There was some kind of outbreak or plague, and the place was sealed off. Nothing left to find, or so the records say.
Well, I'm pretty sure we're completely immune to any kind of plague now, thanks to King Arthur's spirit being inside us, so I'm not too worried about the Red Death. Isn't it only right to bury the keepers?
Yes, it weighs on me more than I'd care to admit. If I could, I'd see them laid to rest. But no captains ever bothered. It seems they thought it was a fool's errand. Maybe not worth the risk.
But I could go down there.
If you're mad enough to try, then by all means go ahead. Just don't expect any keeper to follow you. I really don't have men to spare. But maybe it's time to make it right. So, thank you, I suppose.
Well, I'm not one of yours, so you're taking no risk. I spoke with Beatrice. Her husband is locked in a cage in the village.
I knew we'd have to deal with this sooner or later. Time isn't exactly on our side. Mahon's condition worsens with each passing night. It's hard for me to admit, but nobody, including myself, really knows what's going on. Maybe a fresh perspective is exactly what we need. If you find any clues, follow them. I'm only interested in the details, and ideally, the solutions.
We can try. So, this might be... So, while we were exploring that sunken village, we went and found somebody from the island asylum, actually. He's here now. And on that island, we found a metal gong with an inscription, so I assume this is what we're asking about. So I found a piece of metal with an inscription. Do you know what this is?
That's one of our tags. Every soldier gets one when they pledge their...
Never mind, it's a keeper's token.
I just hope the body you took it from was already cold, because killing a keeper would land you in some serious trouble.
Well, I have a whole bunch of them.
You know, here's what I'm thinking. If you stumble over any of our fallen keepers out there, bring me their tags. Sure, they all swore to stay here until the bitter end, but they have families who deserve to know what became of them. It's part of...
Well, I have a metric ton of these tags from our exploration
I
journeys.
can't send any more beyond these walls. Maybe you could lend a hand. I'll pay you for every tag you bring back.
Absolutely. Guess let's talk to him again. I have more tags.
You know where to find me if you come across any more.
Okay, so that's that taken care of. So what's the story behind that flooded village near the Horns?
It used to belong to the keep. You could say it was its beating heart. That village was where our lighthouses led the ships, and where the workers lived with their families. Ah, those must have been the days. But then the ships stopped coming, and there were less and less new keepers, and the others left looking for a better life. Until, at last, the sea took most of it.
So you just abandoned it?
What else was there to do? There weren't enough people to live there, and nobody wanted to anyway. Not since the monsters started coming out of the sea. We wiped out most of them, but new ones showed up every now and then. Margh, our hunter, keeps an eye on the place. You can talk to him if you want.
I will definitely check that out. Is there anything interesting left there?
Depends on your idea of interesting. There's a weird statue with a gong, but I'm not sure how much of it is left. Other than that, probably just damp rubble.
Well, we did pick up the gong and it was a quest item, so...
I'm pretty sure he just sits there all day instead of hunting. No wonder we've been eating nothing but fish.
Alright, so let's see. If you know Audron's a drunk, why do you keep stationing him at the front gate?
He's not our first line of defense. The archers are. Every man here needs to have a job. And no offense to Audron, but let's just say we can afford to lose him.
He's out there as bait for the archers to kill whoever's trying to kill him, basically. Having a drunk guard at the front gate is not a very good look.
I'm sure the hordes of visitors clamoring at our gates can survive the insult.
That's also a fair response. I talked to Olathe. Why can't she leave this place?
That's between her and the captain. Were it up to me, she'd be long gone. Her presence here distracts my men.
Distract how? Tell me about this place. Let's see if we can get some history on this.
Fine then. This is the keep. Anyone sworn in as a keeper lives here, unless they're no longer fit for service. If that happens, they get transferred to the village. Otherwise, they're not allowed to go there without my express permission. So if you ever see any of my boys down there looking shifty, feel free to report them. You're allowed to walk around the keep and the village, but if anyone catches you stealing, I'll take your hands. If you attack any of my men, I'll take your head. That enough for you?
Fair is fair. Although I did already steal a bunch from a bunch of the crates out here. Thank God he doesn't know about that. Can you tell me more about the village?
There are a few retired keepers living there. They might tell you about the good old days if you ask them nicely. There are also some refugees from north of the island, since we had nowhere else to put them. I don't really know much about what's going on in that place. I just make sure they have everything they need, more or less. You can always go see for yourself.
I did do that. Refugees?
People fleeing from bandits, from the Wyrdness, you name it. I wasn't exaggerating when I said we were the last beacon of hope this far south. For these people, we are. Don't know how many more we can take, but that's a problem for another time.
That's a commendable attitude for that, just taking it one crisis at a time. What exactly are you responsible for here?
I'm Captain Brandon's right hand. He deals with the serious matters I don't want to know anything about. I take care of our everyday life.
Is there anything I can help you with?
We've been having trouble with the dead lately. The kind that don't want to rest in peace. There are more and more of them roaming the area. It might just be the Wyrdness, as it has been steadily creeping closer from the north. But somehow I doubt it. Anyway, I suggest you go see Margh first. He knows best what's going on there.
Maybe we can go talk to Margh. Who's Margh?
He's our huntsman. He keeps us stocked with meat, so the lads don't have to live on fish alone. They get pretty grumpy when that happens. Right now, Margh is the only other person who's allowed to leave the keep. I'm not about to risk the life of our last link to the outside world, especially when you're so eager to lend a hand.
So I think Margh is going to take me to a place I already explored but couldn't finish proper. So when we were exploring that cemetery I told you guys about, we went into a small crypt, and that's where we met the dying goddess spirit creature thingy. But in the main crypt, there was a locked door, and we couldn't get past that. So I assume Margh will have the key for that, and then we'll go put the dead to rest. Do you have any idea what might be causing this?
There is a local legend about a dark druid named Slaughter? Slaughter, that was it. He was a necromancer rumored to be able to raise the dead and make them do his bidding. It's quite an old legend, though, so unless he managed to raise himself from the dead, I doubt he's behind this.
Can you tell me more about the cemetery?
It's old. From what I've heard, it even predates the Horns of the South. The keepers and the people from the village below used to bury their dead there. But after the flood, it's been pretty much abandoned.
The flood?
Yeah, damn druids. They flooded a village of innocent people, just to show everyone they're still in power. Fat lot of good it did them.
And when you hear things like that, it makes it very easy to understand why they were all burned at the stake, huh?
Unnatural.
Where's the cemetery?
It's not far, and it's hard to miss. But honestly, I'd suggest you go see Margh first. You don't really know what you're walking into, so if I were you, I'd try to learn as much as possible beforehand.
That's probably good advice. You didn't send any men to investigate?
The captain forbade anyone from leaving the keep, so I couldn't. And truth be told, I didn't particularly want to. We don't get many recruits, and you're, well...
Expendable.
Your words, not mine.
It's quite clear to see. Alright, I'll do that.
Good. Try not to get yourself killed, and get rid of whatever's been causing the problem.
I think we can manage that. So... I think this is a bad idea to tell him what we're here for, so I'd like to speak with the captain.
Just as I thought. If you have friends among the knights, you'll want to talk to the captain. But that's not happening anytime soon.
Why?
Because I said so. What? Did you really expect that you could just enter our keep and head straight for the captain's quarters?
That's fair, I suppose.
There wouldn't be much point in having walls and guards here if anyone could just do that, would there?
I think that's fair. This pin should tell you I've got some friends in high places.
So what?
Just tell me where he is.
And have you helped any of my people? Or are you just here to wave that pin in my face again? First, show me you care. And then I'll take you to the captain. I can't have every random stray wasting his time. Not now, when the outcome of the war with its tribes is so precarious. I trust we understand each other?
Perfectly. Clear as day. First the work, then the audience.
Good. Come back when you've proven your worth to the Horns of the South. Then we'll talk.
Okay, so we've done a lot of that stuff, actually. But I imagine the cemetery is a necessity for that too, so... Actually, I'm here for Excalibur.
Excalibur? You want to pull it out? That's a good one. Well, be my guest. If you think you can. Go ahead. But unless you're King Arthur reborn, I wouldn't count on it.
In a roundabout way.
If you need rest, you can sleep in the barracks. It's no royal chamber, but it's better to sleep under a roof than under the stars, right? Especially in this horrible weather.
Alrighty, so let's look. Okay, that track towards Margh, that's who we're looking for. Where would Margh be? Margh is in the hunter's camp, or by the hunter's camp at least. So, all along the watchtower. Let's take a look at that quest real fast. So, all along the watchtower is... Gorban is haunted by memories of a deadly mission beneath the keep. He lost all his brothers in arms exploring ancient tunnels filled with horrors from the Age of Legends, and he's the only one who made it back. The Quartermaster gave me the key to the dungeons. Time to see what's lurking down there. Okay, so let's do Dead as Dreams first. Let's go back to that cemetery. Since I've already been there a little, I'm quite curious how that all pans out. I guess we should probably briefly touch on the fact that I did get some level ups in between. Now we can finally wear this heavy plate and not be in the heavy category. We don't have the strength for it yet, so we're not getting the increased melee damage or the stat boost from it just yet, but it looks cool as hell. So for the next couple level ups, we'll do strength, and then we should be all squared away. We do have our weapon requirements for all the gear we're using, so it's just the chest piece for right now that's bugging us. But we'll get it. We're pretty close to a level up right now, so this cemetery quest will likely get that finished off for us. And then I guess I'll just base my build around the gear I get, since so much of the gear in this game seems to be stat dependent on whether you can use it or not. I'll probably just focus on, you know, getting the stats that I need for certain things. Base my build around that. Dexterity and strength is both useful for our melee build, so I'm not too worried about wasting points in either of those stats.
Oh, a new face. I haven't seen you before.
Yo, Margh.
It depends on who's asking and why. Nah, I'm kidding. I don't meet many outsiders these days. I'm Margh, a hunter in the service of the Horns of the South.
Anything interesting around here?
Everything is interesting around here. But ultimately, it depends on what you're looking for.
High tier loot and big enemies to fight. Tell me about yourself.
No.
That's fair enough. Why?
Because I'm not an interesting person. You need to understand that when someone enlists with the Horns of the South, he leaves his former self outside the walls of the keep. His old life, it loses all meaning. If someone comes here and gets political, well, they'll end up disappointed. Well, I don't know if you're aware, but becoming the captain is a curse for any true keeper. It's not the honor others on Avalon seem to think it is.
Well, I wasn't putting you up for promotion.
Because the captain answers to Camelot and its representative, Galahad. So every captain needs to get political, whether he likes it or not. And the current Galahad is a real piece of shit. He burns people under any pretext whatsoever, or none at all. He sows terror. I have no respect for the man.
Well, I appreciate your honesty.
I'm self-sufficient enough not to have to ask for help. However, I suppose I could help you. I could share some things I found out during my hunts.
And so he has a store. What do you have? Let's have a tan leather. Arrows. Being able to tan leather could be useful if we ever want to craft, so we'll go ahead and take that. I don't think we have anything we are interested in selling right now, so probably okay with that. The Quartermaster told me that you have a problem with the undead.
I don't know what it is about this place, but even the dead hardly ever get near rest. Though I'll admit, it's getting worse lately. They keep emerging from the local cemetery in numbers greater than that small plot of land ever held. So I'm guessing we might have a necromancer on our hands. And here I thought after the Charred Conclave, we'd have more than 100 years of peace from them.
Do you often have problems with necromancy in these parts?
Only every century or so. But even that's too often if you ask me. Something seems to draw them here. Well, it's probably all that death. The South has always been restless. And after what happened with the sunken village, I guess death has seeped into the very soil of this land. Must be quite alluring for that lot.
I'll find out what's happening.
Good. And try not to die. That undead swarm doesn't need any more recruits.
Okay. So he's just gonna let me go and investigate that now. Before we do that, though, let's chat to King Arthur. Dude looks like such a Chad. Was this gong already here in your time?
Perhaps. I cannot say for certain. My memory remains too clouded. It seems familiar. I do not feel my soul bound to it, but I know our path shall lead us here, one way or another.
Okay, so we'll be going back to that then.
Lingers beyond this gate. Something ancient. That much I know. We'll find the truth soon enough.
And then let's ask him about the arch spire that we walked into. So the arch spire doesn't look like something built by humans.
I suppose it wasn't. I can feel it guards something primordial within. The markings on the stone resemble the work of the Foredwellers. In my time, such inscriptions would shift and change, making them impossible to decipher. Yet, I met some people who sought to unravel these mysteries. Most of them were Picts. I allowed them to explore Avalon without my oversight. And so, I remember that the royal geographers came to be. My favorite band of adventurers. True pathfinders. Avalon owes them a great debt.
It doesn't look like anybody was paid any of the debts they were owed from this place. Alright. Let's go check out this cemetery. Like I said, I have been here before. I wonder if the skeletons will have respawned. There was a bunch of skeletons, and then inside the crypts a bunch of zombies. And we did talk to one caretaker inside the large crypt, but he had no dialogue option to give us a key. He just talked about his master being beyond his gate, so... Perhaps now he'll give us a key, or perhaps we can just go on in. Maybe it was just locked because of the quest. Here's the guy I did already speak to. I need to enter this crypt.
Interested in local history, are you? Good, good. The memory of those who came before us should be preserved. I can let you in. There is a small fee of 5 gold coins, for the upkeep of the cemetery, of course. It's constant work, as you can clearly see, and my petitions for additional funds seem to have fallen on deaf ears.
Well, ordinarily I'd say you're just being greedy, but considering you're dead, I don't think so. So sure, I'll pay.
Bless you, kind stranger. Those old bones are not what they used to be. Here, just take the key. Be careful, though. There's evil dwelling in those crypts. Oh, and I hope I don't need to remind you not to rob any graves. It's terribly rude, and I'd rather not deal with the complaints.
I can't promise that, because if I see something shiny, it's gonna be mine. Alright, let's drop a save, of course, before we head on in. I'm already seeing a lot of red on my radar. Bone meal. Come on then. Yeah, a lot of this stuff is chemical ingredients, which I don't know if I'll need them at any point, so... soulstone for us. Those soulstones are a little interesting, so you can equip those as an amulet, and then if you ever run out of health, they'll boost you back up, but it breaks. So if you put them on at the start of an encounter, if you don't feel like using potions, you know, you wanna be beefed up by the time you get to the boss, you equip those at the start, and on 10 kills it breaks, but it also heals you in full. The Avalon Crimes, number 26. What happened in Borough? Nothing puzzles history enthusiasts as much as the motives behind the famous crime that took place in Borough almost half a century ago. The entire Hjor family met a sad end, and it took another 20 years for those responsible for this heinous act to be punished. The Hjor family consisted of the head of the household, Eol, his wife, Yvain, Eol's sister-in-law, her husband, and 4 children. One day, on their way back from the Samhain celebrations, all of them were hit by a speeding carriage. Their bodies were later found in a roadside ditch. What initially looked like an unfortunate accident turned out to be a plot hatched by the entire village. To say that the then Governor of Borough, Rocquois, was not fond of Eol Hjor is an understatement. However, we do not know the reason for his enmity. Was it because of Yvain, whom the governor allegedly desired, or maybe because of the rumors of a bad meat distribution, which Eol discovered and then blackmailed Rocquois that he would expose him? Sadly, that is something we will never know. What we do know, however, is that after this tragic accident, Rocquois used blood magic to force all the residents of Borough to take an oath of silence. The blood pact was sealed by a hefty amount of gold, which the governor distributed among the villagers, and so the villagers kept silent. Only Lieutenant Aetheric from the Arcane Cold Case Division was able to end that conspiracy. In the presence of a druid, he promised the witnesses that he would remove the blood curse, so they would be able to clear their conscience by revealing the truth. With their help, Lieutenant Aetheric arrested Rocquois and the carriage driver, who was later revealed to be Rocquois' son-in-law, Lorcan. They were both sent to trial, and justice was served. Rocquois and Lorcan were hanged on the gallows, and the death of the innocent Hjor family was avenged. Love the world building. Get out of there fast. Feral Charm. Definitely yoink the coin purse. Need a key to the inner crypt from the... Okay, so that's the way. So let's check the rest first. I do not like going the way first. I imagine there's a wraparound to that somewhere. Alright, let's take this right side. And look for that wraparound. He told us not to rob any of the graves, but we're certainly gonna check. I'm gonna miss. Shambling corpses do not make the best infantrymen, I can tell you that. Sorry about the theft. Well, we need it more than them. Actually, all things considered. I got no idea what I'm going to be running into fight-wise here. Bone meal. We did get a level up, but I don't think I'll be able to place a bonfire in here. Yeah, I didn't think so. So let's save. Just in case. What the fuck? Oh, I thought that was an enemy I had to fight. Oh, okay. If I didn't stand, that hit me. Yeah, I knew that stuff would weigh a ton. Alright. Yeah, it weighs 100. No, thank you. You can keep that. Yeah, that ain't my problem. That's not my burden to bear. You do have a side attack. Yeah, meat pies. You already know not to pick that sword up. Show me the goodies. Oh, maybe all the way right. A little higher. Maybe? Yeah. Coin, rockfish, iron arrow, and materia medica. Give us some healing recipes. It does. Starting to get a hand on what the items and objects mean. Save up again. The bosses can sometimes be a lot more chunky than the rest of the stuff you deal with down here. You have cool looking gear.
Try not to step on the array. It's advanced magic. Very fragile.
I want your helmet. Advanced or not, I need you to stop whatever it is you're doing here.
Stop. Well, what I am doing here is very important. Besides, I'm hardly hurting anyone. Well, anyone that matters, that is.
That's not how that works. You kill people and raise their corpses.
That is a gross oversimplification.
No, that is just hitting the nail on the head.
Valuable research, and yes, I do get rid of vermin and give their sorry existence some actual meaning. Posthumously, but, well, as they say, better late than never, right? Don't tell me you care about the lives of a few bandits.
I care about the perversion of what you're doing with life and death. I don't, but I also don't think you should desecrate their corpses.
I'm not desecrating anything. It's just flesh. There's nothing sacred about it in the first place.
Okay,
It starts
so he's beyond.
when you die. I'm merely prolonging its usefulness. And I've made some tremendous breakthroughs. I know people fear this kind of magic, but it creates so many new possibilities. It could change the meaning of life and death.
You've already shown you care nothing for life.
Die prematurely, more time with their loved ones. We could learn to live without the fear of dying. We could treat death not like an end, but like a new beginning.
I killed a few bandits, but I didn't enjoy taking their lives.
Don't enjoy it either. It's messy, and it takes up far too much time that could be better devoted to my research. Think about it this way. People who wrought so much misery on others could end up bettering the lives of everyone. I've made some tremendous breakthroughs.
No, you make dead people slaves. So you're not trying to raise an undead army?
Oh, please. Is that the only thing people can think of when it comes to necromancy? What use would I have with an army? My ambition isn't to command the dead, but death itself. I aim to make Avalon a place where people won't have to fear it anymore. The problem is, I keep missing something. Raising the dead is easy, but I don't want mindless minions. I want truly living undead. Yet no matter what I do, I just won't work.
It's because you're disrupting the natural order of things. He's just too far beyond the pale. I mean, he's talking about how it's just flesh. It doesn't matter. There's nothing like important about human life. Once they're dead, you may as well just puppet them around. We're not gonna let this continue.
Very well. Do you know what I like most about the dead? They don't tire, and they don't feel pain. But you will.
Let's find out. Little mace beefy. Stop. Stop your summoning. Staff. Please tell me I get your stuff. Yeah, I do. His helmet looks so cool. So savage. Skeleton army. Burning ember. Solution for disobedience. Revenant armor. Arthur. Dual Luther. Or Arthur, sorry. The dead are supposed to obey. Supposed to. Yet I've learned, through painful experience, that some grow rebellious. A whisper of their past selves. A flicker of defiance. It's enough to make any necromancer uneasy. So, I sought a solution. If my minions insist on turning against me, why not make their remains my shield? Bone, after all, is sturdy, and with the right bindings, it holds enchantments well. Ribs become pauldrons, spines reinforce a cuirass, skulls add an extra layer of protection, silent, obedient, and most importantly, incapable of rebellion. Binding spells keep the armor from attracting restless spirits. A simple sigil of dominance ensures that no lingering essence remains. Now, when I raise the dead, I do so with confidence, and if one of them turns rogue again, well, I'll simply repurpose them into something more useful. I never liked the way they talk about the dead. Day 24 Birch Moon. A revelation has visited me, bringing clarity and unease. My thoughts linger on those who shunned me. Driven by envy and spite, like venomous shadows, they sought to discredit my work, poisoning others with doubt and discord. Yet, I must rise above their pettiness and keep my purpose untainted. As I unlock life's mysteries, I am reminded to remain silent. The envious, like stealthy predators, must not distract me from transcending mortality's limits. With renewed resolve, I press forward, knowing the triumph over adversity will be my enduring legacy. So when you read his journal, it doesn't even really sound like he was about the life he was claiming to be about how he was trying to help people and make it so the whole of Avalon didn't have to fear death anymore. It sounds like he was just trying to make it so that he didn't have to fear death. Small health potion. We'll crank one out. Let's take a look at his helmet. So it weighs 0.2. It gives us a full armor set, so it's lighter than the other one too. Yeah, I think we like that. I think we definitely like that. Not so much a fan of his robes, but we'll be using this for like the rest of the game, at least until I find something that looks cooler. I imagine we'll be with this plate armor for a while. Now, where is my loop around? I know that there is one because I saw it. Come on. Up. That boy. I guess this is where he started his ritual, where he was getting things from. Are we gonna run into any more undead here along the way? Hold the phone. +5 max mana permanently. Yep, sure, we'll take that. So some items that you can consume here, they'll give you permanent buffs. So let me quickly look through all this stuff. With the charm for fizz damage. Yeah, I'm definitely invested in getting permanent buffs like that. Bergen's Mysterious Root. Oh, we can't actually take that yet. Yeah, keep an eye out for those cool little items like that then, because they'll just give you permanent buffs that you can have for forever. I am glad I paid attention to that. Let's keep his tag. That's some money when we get back to the keep. Practical guide to profitable armor. I think we already read that since it didn't give me the option to read it. Let's get out of here. I wonder if this guy's gonna be mad. Do you know that I stole? Because I did. Your master is dead.
Yes, I felt that. He must have been surprised.
No love lost, huh?
People like him tend to forget that it can happen to them too.
What will happen to you now?
I guess I'll do what I always do. Clean up, put everyone back to sleep, and then take a little nap myself. Someone will come along again sooner or later. We can't have them seeing such a mess, can we?
Well, I'm glad you're at least content with your lot in life. What do you mean by you always do?
Well, this master wasn't the first one. I'm sure he won't be the last. This place is very popular with their kind for some reason. And they always leave it in such a state. It's not like it would hurt them to pick up a few bones and put them back in place.
That's fair. Well, I guess this is goodbye.
It seems so. But before you go, I have a small favor to ask.
Okay.
As you can see, there's quite a commotion around here. I'm afraid I won't be able to fulfill all my duties before I need to rest again. Could you take what remains of the Master and place him in a special crypt I've prepared? If you feel so inclined, a few kind words about him would be welcome. Here's the key. Well, goodbye then. And thank you for stopping by. It was truly appreciated. Though we are dead, we still enjoy having a visitor from time to time. It's nice to be remembered, even if just for a little while.
Well, that ended on quite a sweet tone, actually. Yeah, I'm glad that I had a conversation with him. I do feel sorry that this asshole was using him as a puppet, but... so how do I just grab you? It's gonna let me pick you up now that I have the quest? Because I haven't found a way to put a corpse in your inventory, at least yet. Oh, I see, he decayed already. In a special place. Well, let's see what the caretaker wants to do with his body before we run back to the keep and inform everybody that we took care of the cemetery. I'll probably do the dungeon tunnels too before I go back and talk to Quartermaster. Assume he's coming in here. Bloody, the first of many. Okay, can't read that. That's not for him. That's just gonna be more recipes. This one? Oh. This one. Steptos. Go afraid. iPhone. Well, they won't let us inscribe. We can place the ashes. Maybe now we can inscribe. Well, he did ask us to at least say some kind words, but I don't think his heart was in the right place. Let's just say this. That'll be fine. That's a little pun too. And I guess that's the end of the quest. I guess they just dump all the necromancers though. Alright, so let's go to our quests. And Dead as Dreams. So, the quest just does take us directly back to the Quartermaster then. And now he's resting. Well, I'm not gonna steal from him. I don't need the key, it's already unlocked. Yeah, his little speech right there was kind of touching actually about, it's nice to be remembered even for a little while. I imagine if you were in his position and you happen to find yourself as an undead like that, it would probably feel, you know, kind of like you've been forgotten about. I mean, you're still alive in terms of conscious existence, but people just think about you every now and then on a rainy day, and they certainly don't go visit. I know a lot of times people don't even bother with cemeteries, right? So that ended on a warmer note than I would have expected it to. And honestly, I don't know if it remains to be this way throughout the whole game, but everywhere I've explored has had a little quest like that. It's been really good so far. I've dealt with the necromancer. He's dead now.
So he shares the same fate as his minions. Ironic, don't you think? Well, at least we'll have some peace and quiet around here again. And the dead might be restless for a bit. But I'm sure Wyrdness will put them back to sleep. You can report a job well done to the Quartermaster.
Wait, you know Wyrdness?
Aye, I do. He's a very pleasant fellow. I may not be very fond of his masters, but well, who am I to judge a man for the oaths he's bound to? And he has a lot of respect for the dead. I wouldn't mind having someone like him looking after me after I finally shuffle off this mortal coil.
Yeah. Aren't you curious about the details?
You fought, you won. That's all that matters to me. We're both busy individuals.
That's fair enough.
If Avalon permits, we'll share this tale by the campfire. But for now, let's focus on what's in front of us. Since you've proven you're brave enough to face the undead, I take it you're not afraid of the night either, are you?
Of course not. Why?
I might have another job for you if you're interested.
Could be convinced.
A while ago, another traveler came through here bragging that he found a place where he could easily gather ethereal cobwebs. He was supposed to return with proof, but, well, I'm afraid he may have met an unfortunate end, as often happens. But I'm still curious about the place he mentioned.
The traveler, who was he?
It's just a stranger who wanted to share the fire for a while. I never ask his name. I didn't see the point. There are those on Avalon who love the thrill of braving the night. They don't usually live very long. I think he mistook me for a kindred spirit.
Yeah, the night cycles are a lot different in this game. It reminds me of Elden Ring, how there's night bosses and the whole vibe of the game changes once it's past midnight. Yeah, okay. I'll let you know what I find.
That's good. Hand me a map. I don't know the exact location, but you should find it in this area. Good luck.
Fair enough. I had another quest. So, let me go... We will actually go talk to the Quartermaster. And then we need to level up too. Hope he doesn't pull me into the next part of this quest, because I still want to do everything else before we dip down there. Trying to keep a general order to things. I did do a bunch of the side quests, obviously, off camera. I think I might continue to do that, but maybe not, because they've all been so interesting. I might honestly keep it all in. Unless I start getting the feeling that it's going to be, like, nonsense. But so far, man, hats off to the chef for all the cutscenes and stuff. Let's take a level up. Alrighty, so immediately we're going to dump 1 into strength, because we got to get up to 8. And in our skill trees, I've been leveling up armor a little bit. That's why we have this weight threshold thing going on. I might sink one more into it just to get the max thresholds. Because then we don't have to really worry about that anymore. And I think our damage is holding up okay, so let's just take a quick look. See if we'd be missing anything if we didn't. The wielding, debilitating blows. Heavy attacks with one-handed weapons have a 5% chance to stun. Consecutive hits on the same enemy within 5 seconds of each other resets on hitting a different enemy, and that's reduces the stamina cost of each one. So I'm not too worried about that yet. In endurance, we have health, stamina, shields. In dexterity, we have this movement stuff. And dashes regenerate 20% faster. Now, eventually, I do want to get down to doing this so we get the dash back real quick. I don't think this will matter much in the end. So yeah, let's get the threshold. Now we should be significantly under the weight. We might even be able to sneak something else out of that. Old talk we don't need. Keep the crit chance by 5 for now. 8 strength for that, so we need 2 more level ups to be able to fully wield that. I did have some heavy boots that I could check. Okay, so we got Night Greaves now. So we got a little bit more armor out of that. I wonder if I can get the boots and still be medium. I have to check, of course. Wait. Is that because I snitched on you for being a drunk?
You're the reason they put me here.
It is. Did they put you here to sober up?
Let me out. I'll beat you so hard your own mother won't recognize you.
Ironically, you still sound drunk.
So I can spit in your face.
That was necessary. You're drinking on due day.
Nobody asked your opinion. I drink because I want to. I drink because guarding that empty gate is the most boring shit in the world. What's it to you, anyway? Maybe I was drunk, but the gate was guarded. It's not your damn pin, I wouldn't even let you in. But all is not lost. We can still be friends. Listen, just pour something delicious down my throat, huh? And I'll forget this insult. I'm not guarding the gate right this second, am I? There's nothing wrong with having a little sip, right?
Okay, so on principle, ordinarily, I wouldn't do this, but because he's a little mad at us, and he is in this pillory, so it's not like he can do anything, and he's still gonna have to detox while he's in here, so... Let's give him a little sip. Get him off our ass. What do we have for you? You just take some ale, I guess.
I knew it, my friend. I knew we could get along. Oh, delicious. You're the best, you know.
Yeah, I don't feel like having the gatekeeper of this place mad at me for the rest of our time in this act. It'd probably be better to be on at least good terms. And again, he's still gonna sober up. We gave him 1 beer. He's gonna be in that pillory for a lot of hours. Maybe the act itself will make him learn his lesson eventually. Let's save up beforehand. And then we'll turn in that keeper's tag. And tell him the cemetery is taken care of. I have another tag. 900 coin per tag is insane.
Yes? Did you find out what's been happening out there?
I did. A necromancer was conducting experiments in the cemetery. It's not a problem anymore.
Great. A necromancer. Just what we needed. It wasn't the dark druid from the legends, was it?
Just a cheap imitation. No.
Good thing you got rid of him then. We already have the Dalriada almost on our doorstep. We don't need an army of the undead to boot. You did well. Maybe it's not so bad having you here.
I try. Alright, so we're not gonna go talk to the captain yet. So if we look at our quests, we have amounted quite the list here, really. The misc stuff, I'm not too worried about. We can get this done, of course, over time, but... mainly I care about this stuff. See a darkness. Heard a strange dream while camping near Archspire. Branded and exiled. Rosen told me where to find a bandit leader called Bald K. She's hoping her husband might still be alive in Kate's camp. We can go check that at some point. Pumpkin Peril. Haven't managed to run into those. Local medic asked me to perform a druidic ritual. What are we going to get up to next time? I guess we can go do the druidic ritual next episode. Alright then guys, that's going to be where I'm going to wrap this one up because I got some things to sell. I'm going to mess with my player stash and see what we can or can't equip with our new weight capacity. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe, leave a like and a comment. If you want to support the cause and help improve the channel, please do check out those links in the description below. Otherwise, stay tuned and I'll see you soon with more Tainted Grail, The Fall of Avalon. Take care everybody, have a great day. Peace.